Hello, my name is Wayne Brunner. In August of 1990, I started a journal due to the experiencing of very unusual events. I started becoming aware of seeing places that were not from Earth as I know it, nor our reality. This video is based on my experiences as I perceive them. So as you may perceive the information differently than what I am explaining it, the important part here is that it's being shared. When this first started, I experienced a very traumatic event, and that was the feeling that my house had been surrounded by an incoming force field. And this force field completely enveloped the house, eventually myself, and as this energy came into my body, it felt as if I was the center of a nuclear explosion. I really believed at this time that I had died. And when I came back from this experience, I was quite shaken up and I had no idea what was taking place. I had not read about this. I didn't know anybody that had an experience similar to this. And I just felt that the best thing I could do was just let it go at the moment. It wasn't to be that way. I've experienced two more of these very powerful energies the same day. And this certainly got my attention. These energies were to continue for some time, and shortly after the third or fourth incoming energy, I came across a book, and the woman that had written the book also had a traumatic experience, and she was told if there would be no resistance, there would be no harm. And since I didn't have too many options at the time, I felt the best I could do with it was to go with the energy as it came in, which is what I did. I completely relaxed and just went with the energy, and it turned out to be a quite phenomenal experience, very pleasurable. And what has transpired as a result of all of this is represented in these drawings that you're about to see, and the music that goes along with it. The music was done on December 25th and 26th of 1993. And other information is also being relayed within this video for certain individuals to experience. And the purpose of this entire video is to inform and inspire other starseed, because I'm sure I'm not going to be the only one having these experiences. I truly believe there's a message within each of the drawings. The drawings were started in 1991 and they continue till now. I've included approximately 60 of the drawings in this video. I've been visited by various beings throughout the past 3 years, much of which I cannot consciously recall. However, due to the drawings and the journal information that were recorded at the time, I realize now the influence that they've had. There were very few drawings with any preconceived ideas as to what they were supposed to be, and most of them I had no idea what to expect. And when I do a drawing, I basically feel a need to do one. I have some intention of what drafting devices I'd like to use as I'm doing the drawing, and the rest is pretty much like an intuition type thing. I really didn't feel the information was consciously being channeled. When I started this, I had been on a quest, traveling around, staying in campgrounds, and I started doing these drawings in campgrounds. The first and most powerful experience of actually being spoken to, and this was a very unexpected event for me, and I had a very commanding voice say, "Those being awakened will have no doubt." I didn't have any idea what that meant at the time, and 3 years later, after the fact, I now have a real good idea. And I'm trying to share that with you through the feeling that goes into the drawings, and most especially with the music. The second information or message that I received was I must change my concepts of what is possible. And that's certainly been the case throughout the past 3 years. The experiences have been phenomenal. And I'm trying to share that with you as best I can in a way you may be able to understand that. And I think the general population at this point would have no idea what's really happening here. So this is for the other starseed to share this information and see what this triggers for you. On April 29th, 1990, I was guided to go camping in the Poconos, and I spent 1 week alone in the woods. The first night that I was there, I entered an altered state of consciousness and was directed to go out of my tent, and I saw a number of alien beings with their children camping alongside of me. This was a very interesting experience, and I think this one will stay with me for quite a while. The entire week was quite exciting. A lot of things happened there. Another thing I would like to share was I was guided to go to the top of the mountain where I was at, and an energy formation formed above the trees, which was about a 250-yard diameter circle of what looked like the black mass of energy. And I experienced what I felt was a UFO pass through through the energy field into the mountain. It was really exciting. I later came across the government's Operation Blue Book, and I found their radar images were identical to what I was seeing in my head and had recorded earlier in my journal. And this was an excellent verification of the information I had been receiving, and I was easier to believe now that what I had experiencing was something that I could really say was happening. When I first realized the UFOs were taking me out on a regular basis, which started on my journey across the states, what would happen was a massive energy. You could feel it coming towards you, and if you relaxed, you had about maybe 1 second to go with it, and then you were gone. And next thing you know, you were blasted back here. So it was pretty exciting. Also, the Native American Indians were a great influence as I was going through these experiences. I've had visions with Indians, I've seen past life scenes, and a lot of my journey to begin with started because of the American Indians. And I do believe at this time I have an American Indian guide working with me. In May of 1990, I remembered being at what appeared to be a college, which I found out was to be an instruction for the New World Order by the Ashtar Command. This was later verified in July of '91 as I came across a book by the same name, The New World Order by the Ashtar Command, and in that book was describing most of what I described in my journal from May. And I thought this was incredible because up until this point I didn't truly believe what I experiencing was anything more than my imagination, which is the purpose of sharing this video, that what you may be experiencing is not your imagination either. Some of the messages I received, one was while looking through a book, there was a picture of the beings from the Wizard of Oz, and I received a message in my head later that said, "Our Oz is for real." I received another message while I was on my journey it said, "The red rose from the Ascended Master." And I was later to find out the next day that this was in regard to a book called The Initiate by Cyril Scott. And the master in that book had precipitated a red rose for the individual he was writing about in the book that did not believe in the possibilities of what was happening here in this reality. The other information I received was to videotape the song The Crystal Blue Persuasion, which came on television the next day or so. And that was pretty interesting that it came on after I was told to record that. The words in the video were inspiring. And then in November '91, I received some information about the mission. And at this point, I believe this video was part of my mission in triggering others that may be having the experiences and assisting them as to what they may mean to them and what they're doing. There are to be many physical changes and transformations as this process continues. I was also visited by beings from an Orion starship, and that was two males. They visited me at my home. It's quite exciting. It's also difficult to explain to you how these experiences took place, but I was told that feeders will awaken and activate the cells and memories, which certainly came true within a period of 1 year from when I was told that. I was visited by beings from Alpha Centauri and many of the starships, and the Alpha Centauri visitation was a very powerfully emotional remembering. I was told the drawings and interplay of the dimensions as the drawings are done will assist and help fuse the fragmented selves. And I've certainly found that to be true. As I do these drawings, I sort of slip in and out of this reality somehow. And I believe that this has quickened my ability to view the multiple dimensions. And I do believe that for the individuals that this is intended to reach, that you will also experience the same thing as you view these drawings. And I would recommend that when you find a drawing that you've been drawn to here, to use your still feature on your VCR and pause and look at the drawings. I've certainly received a lot more information and understanding regarding each of the drawings as I've done this video. I've received interdimensional phone calls as I explain it. What it's like is receiving or hearing a telephone ringing in your head, and you'll be receiving information from one of the ships. That's happened approximately a half a dozen times, and it's a pretty interesting thing to experience. Some things you may be interested in as to what is going on is the light encoding and brain rechemicalization. Also, if you're interested, the Keys of Enoch gives some good information on the respatialization of the brain. I was told in the beginning, as I started getting into this, that I was being worked with by one of the starship commanders called Commander Balthazar. And about 2 years after I was told this, looking for information as to who this being was, I did find out that it was Master Cthulhu. Also, along with the transformation process, you'll be experiencing what I consider to be mind explosions, and that is a triggering of geometric forms that will go off. And at this point, I would just like you to be open to the possibilities of what could be happening here and what your role in this may be. So, to other Starseeds, I ask for you to be creative and share your experiences with others, as I find that's extremely important. And I hope this is an inspiration to other people that will be coming along this way. So, thank you very much, and enjoy the show. The first series of drawings were entitled The Different Stages of Consciousness. Each of these drawings happened after a specific incident, and as a result of that incident, these drawings were the best way to interpret what had taken place. The first series of 6 drawings were done on the road as I had stopped to camp, and I had been taken out numerous times by UFOs at this point. This is the ship's laser light crystals. These drawings were started in June 1991. This drawing is particularly impressive to myself, which is called the Ascension of Consciousness. This is a representation of an experience in which I found myself taken off the planet, apparently traveling between 2 orbs or planets, and traveled through a sort of time tunnel. This is very similar to a sequence done in the movie called Free Jack. You come out the other side of this and return differently. This was a truly awesome experience. Stage 6 is a 5th dimensional energy. This drawing is a representation of an Arcturian auxiliary propulsion unit. This was done in July of '91. This drawing was called Fantasyland. This was done a short time after, also in July 1991. This was done in the Pocono Mountains. This is one of my personal favorites called Let Me Out. This was my first contact with Ashtar Command. This is Balanced Heart and Mind. The next series of drawings were assisted by the Arcturians. This time travel continuum was experienced in September of '91. At the time, I had been working for a company called NIS. This was also the same name of a company in the movie Free Jack again, which their series and how they portrayed the experience in that movie was almost identical to how I experienced it. This drawing was relayed through Solomon, representing the Celestial Council. It was interpreted by Ashtar, and the information was retrieved traveling the Blue Ray with Azrael, a Pleiadian commander. This was taken to the year 2041, which is supposed to be teleport central for the planet. The best of all technology also comes from the living libraries of the 8th dimension. Teleport Central will be used for diplomatic relations and other civilizations, commerce and trade. This is a representation of the Arcturian group mind. The information relating to my experience was verified in the book We the Arcturians by Norma Milanovich. This drawing is a representation of my visit by Athene in May of 1992. She was known as the Egyptian goddess of immense magical powers. You can also notice when it's turned upside down of the incoming ship. This drawing representing fragmentation was assisted by the Rheathians and the Arcturians. This next series of drawings were a representation of my experiences of traveling through the brain. These drawings were assisted by Antarans and the Arcturians. This is a representation of the light encoding development, symmetrical right brain development. This is a living energy form. This is a concept from the Arcturians. This is for the development of light encoding on 8 sections of the brain. The Antara and the Arcturians are working together on this project. This information came from Giuliano on board the Athena, one of the command ships of the Arcturian fleet. Also on board this vessel is an elder, a pure energy being by the name of Herdinik. This is a thought form that was projected into someone's mind, and they were able to see this with their third eye. This was very interesting. This is a message of love and encouragement from Quadril 5, 210th dimension. It's the structure of a ship a light body without consciousness, a vehicle for a single entity, extraterrestrial, a diplomatic messenger, a representative of the IGC Intergalactic Council from the civilization of encouragement. This drawing is a representation of the dimensional worlds of the southwest quadrant of creation as viewed traveling through spirit. This drawing is what I represent as being the president of the Federation of Planets. When you see this drawing upside down, it's also an androgynous being. This was experienced in December of 1991. This is a representation of the journey to the unknown. The next few drawings are representations of my visitation to the real world, the world of the bird people. There are many different images within each of these drawings. When they're turned different directions, you'll see many different things. This one I call the neon parrot. This is an American Indian philosophy. The blue is electromagnetic energy. The green and pink is a representation of love. This is the idea of life, side by side with the earth energy and mineral kingdom. This is a representation of the soul's journey along the infinite pathway. This drawing was assisted by the Jupiter Command, facilitated by Commander Gryax, and 24 master souls from within. This is a representation of the restructuring of the energy fields within the body. This is a representation of an Orion starship. In November of 1991, I was visited by 2 males from this ship, and as I looked into one man's eyes, they were a spiral orange color, and the words within said the Orion starship. And I thought this was quite exciting. I told them not to get too excited, but just wanted to let them know that they were aliens. Quite an experience. Journey with us as we go through the dimensional worlds with the flies. In March of '92, after entering an altered state of awareness, I saw 2 huge flies on my wall. I went to turn the light on and realized I was not able to do this, indicating I was no longer in the physical. I went over to the wall, reached and went through the wall into a place looking much like a log cabin with cots inside. As I went through the rooms, it had very sophisticated computers which activated as I came into the rooms. I was looking through the papers and reference material to find out what year and place I was in. I looked at a stone wheel that had different gems in it. As it spun, it seemed to trigger a time travel experience. This was truly awesome.